Good morning, everyone, and welcome to November 6th. I'm Barry Fair. This is not the last program that I will be doing, but it's my Upsiders last program with me for a while. So we're going to be making it special for her today. And here she is for the last time.
Hello everyone. Yeah, that's my last day for a little while before my maternity leave. So I'm very excited, but very sad at the same time. But I'll be back.
Okay, so we've got a lot to cover today, including the Melbourne Cup, but we will get to that a little later on the show. But first up, the fish and chips. Now, I spoke about this last night on a program with my offsider. Be careful about what fish and chip shop you go to, because on Saturday night he went to a fish and chip shop and brought some greasy fish and chips. Now, we all know that you love your fish and chips, but please be careful about what you buy, because the fish and chips were cooked in old oil, and that can make anybody sick. And it's very dangerous, because you can end up with severe food poisoning and end up somewhere very unpleasant. Now, here is my offsider for her view on this.
Yes, so make sure you know where you're going to buy your seafood in general and obviously fish and chips. So make sure it's fresh and the oil, it's been changed quite frequently before you get sick and then you regret having that fish and chips.
Now, if you've ever had the hash browns at McDonald's or Hungry Jack's, now sometimes the hash browns have been cooked in a lot of oil, and the oil there has been old too, and the hash browns probably are oily and nasty. So again, be careful about what you are buying from those food outlets. Is my offsider.
Yeah, so I would say if something is very, very cheap, there is a reason for it. So make sure you spend a little bit of money, but at least you know that the food is fresh and also it won't make you sick at all.
And after stop, has the oil been changed from the previous cooking of any food, whether it's steak with dogs, because they are fried in oil too, and with the chicken, any food. So if you are not sure, please do not risk it. Here's my offsider.
Yeah, well said. So do not risk it if you're not sure. Just go for something a bit more fresh. And also check the kitchen, check the deli where they are cooking your food, and make sure it's clean. The staff is wearing protective gloves or hats. So these are the signs that you need to look for.
It's also very important not to wait off food, because again, you could end up with severe food poisoning, ladies and gentlemen, and you do not want that to happen. So if you buy something that may be dodgy for dinner and you are up all night somewhere unpleasant, you will regret it. Here's my offsider.
Yeah, so if you have any symptoms of food poisoning, so take it easy. Maybe have something warm in your stomach, and make sure you go to a doctor immediately to be checked. It's very important that you keep yourself hydrated if you had a food poisoning.
So, like, even with the hot dogs, ladies and gentlemen, you don't know how long they have been out either, so be careful of the hot dogs. Here's my offsider.
Yeah, hot dogs. It's obviously it could be potentially dangerous because you don't know what meat it's in the hot dog, and it could be anything.
And you don't know what ingredients are in the hot dogs either, so.
It's usually could be even waste of meat, like bones or organs from animals. So make sure you buy your own and check the ingredients.
And check the date on the packaging as well, because if it's off, you cannot cook it or consume it. So if you are in a deli, ask the staff when the date it was purchased, because if you ate it and you feel sick afterwards, no. It is a trip straight up the hospital. And we don't want to tell you this, viewers, but it is the truth of the matter. And also, do not eat any unripe fruit, which I will talk about next. The next topic on today's show is the fruit. Now, we must eat fruit to keep us healthy, but there are a few issues with the fruit. On a hot day, you must never keep fruit out of the fridge, especially the strawberries. Now, here's my offsider for this one.
If it's very, very hot and the temperature in your house is too hot, so maybe you can put the fruits in the fridge for a few hours and then maybe take them out before the night starts when the temperature cools down a little bit. So yeah, as you said, maybe small fruit like blueberries, raspberries, and strawberries.
And like, I've got some grapes, which I put in the fridge immediately when I come in, so they will be nice and fresh for when we eat the midday meal. So, eating unripe fruit, ladies and gentlemen, that can make anyone sick, even women that are pregnant. And here she is now.
So yeah, in regards to pregnancy, it's better to wash your fruit with bicarb soda, so you get rid of all of the bacteria. For the rest of the people, it's just to, it's just enough to give a good rinse to your fruits. A good rinse will get rid of a little a little bit of the chemicals and um, uh, that potentially harm bacteria.
And another thing we'd like to mention today also is a little bit more on the seafood, but we'll get to that in a moment when we go back into the studio. But 2018 for me here at St. Ives has been very good. We've had some staff changes this year. We've had a new manager coming in, and they're doing fine. The staff are great too, so it's very important that we, as clients, respect the staff, and if we respect the staff will respect us. And 2019 should be a great year for us here at St. Ives Cash, and it's far from over yet. We've got still 2 months of videos to bring you here. So, in the garden, we have a lot of pink flowers. We've got some lovely daisies here, many vegetables which we talked about in our previous video. So now let's go back into the studio and talk a little bit more about seafood. This is Barry Fair here on this Tuesday morning, the 6th of November, and now we're back on to seafood again. And another thing that you must avoid is oysters, because you do not know what is in the oysters or how long they've been sitting out for. So if you are not sure about the oysters or mussels, don't buy them. And it's the same with the clams. Here's my offsider.
So for those kind of things like oysters and clams, it's better to buy them when they're still closed. So you make sure they're fresh if you open them yourself. If they are open, you don't know how long they've been open for.
And another thing I'd like to talk about today on the show is chicken. Now, we all know that you love your chicken and your kebabs, but the downside of chicken, it can go off very quickly in the hot weather, especially if you have had it out and it's been sitting at room temperature, okay? So be very careful with the chicken and don't leave it sitting out on the kitchen bench, because if there are any germs on the outside of the chicken or inside of the chicken, it is not safe for any of us to eat, because again, that can give us salmonella. Now, salmonella is a poison, and you will get very sick from salmonella. And you, as I've just said, you do not want to end up somewhere very unpleasant, and you will be quite ill for a week or so up in the intensive care unit. So please watch what you eat, be careful what you buy, look at the date on the packaging before buying it. If it's out of date, please do not buy that. Now, on to another food product that can go off very quickly, and that is eggs. When you are buying eggs, make sure they are not dirty or out of date, because again, if they are out of date, they are no good, because you are buying foods and vegetables that are out of date and have been out on the kitchen bench at room temperature, and that is dangerous. Now, how can you tell when an egg is off? Well, by the smell. And here's my offsider.
Yeah, so with eggs, it's very important to check the expiry date, and also if you think they cracked or they just got damaged during your trip home, just chuck them in the bin, because if they are cracked, it means, it's potentially dangerous.
And the thing is, never use off eggs in cooking, because that once again, ladies and gentlemen, is a very dangerous thing. And the thing I'd like to talk about next is how can you tell when the eggs are fresh, and how to test the freshness of eggs. How to test the freshness of eggs. Step 1, place the egg in a bowl of water. Step 2, if the egg lays on its side at the bottom, it is still quite fresh. Step 3, if the egg stands upright on the bottom, it is still fine to eat, but should be eaten very soon or hard boiled. And step 4, if the egg floats to the top and it's past its prime, it's not good for eating. Why this method is accurate. Eggshells are very porous. When over time air passes through the shell into the egg, and the shelf life diminishes, more air enters the shell. Also, the more air that enters the shell, the more buoyant the egg becomes. Have you ever tried this method for testing? And the freshness of your eggs, does it well work for you? If you know that your eggs are off, or the eggs are past its prime, it is not good for eating. And why? Because once again, off eggs will make you very sick. And I know I'm bringing this up a lot, but being in hospital is not the best being ladies and gentlemen, because if you've eaten something that is off, such as an egg, please go to your doctor straight away. And if you can't drive yourself up, get the ambulance to drive you up to the hospital. The next thing I would like to talk about is dairy. Now, with dairy, that is perishable too, because if you know that the milk is off, well, it is not safe to drink. If the milk is past its use-by date, please don't use it, because you will get very sick. And milk has pasteurization in it. The same with cream, the butter, and ice cream. So if any dairy products are out of date, please do not eat them or drink them. Here's my offsider.
Yeah, with dairy, it's the same as eggs. It could be potentially harming and make you sick if it's expired. But sometimes it's always, I think, good to smell your milk before you have it, even if it's not expired, because you can't let it open for too many days. So once you open your milk, the expiry date, it could be even earlier than the one on the packet.
So always check the date that you purchase the milk. And if it's off, when you get it home, throw it in the bin, because you don't want to end up with poisoning. How can you tell when milk is off? Well, you can tell by the smell of the milk. And here's my offsider.
Yeah, so make sure you smell your milk before you have it, or even, those big yogurt tins. So make sure if it's been open already, so make sure you just check the smell of your yogurt or your milk.
And also, if the yogurt is out of date, please don't eat that. And how can you tell when yogurt is off? Well, I'm going to give you the same answer now. It's like with the milk. The yogurt will have a foul, sour smell, and you must, and I repeat, you must throw any off dairy products that have expired or are not good to eat anymore. So if you know that any dairy products are off, please do not use them. And it's the same with breakfast cereals, which I will talk about in a moment. Breakfast cereals are great, but how can you tell when they are off? Well, they are off because of their use-by date, they are stale, and here's my offsider to tell you about safekeeping of cereals.
Yeah, so make sure you can always transfer your cereal into a sealed container rather than keeping it in the box, to keep it more fresh and it will last long.
Yeah, because if you keep the cereal in the box and the use-by date is gone on it. It's not safe for you to eat. So if you've got Weet-Bix or whatever, and it stays in the box, it's best to put your cereals in an airtight container so that the air can get at it. It's also very important too to know whether the cereal is crisp or soft or not. So please, everybody, if you've got something like Rice Bubbles or Nutri-Grain, please check the use-by date on the cereal packet before opening it, because if it's out of date, it is not safe to eat, because again you will become very sick. And we're going to talk about how to keep your cereal fresh. It is very important to use up the old cereal first before using the new packets. Here's my outsider for this.
Yeah, so it's a good suggestion for cereal is to buy a glass container. So after you open the box, you just put them in a glass container, seal it, and then before you start a new package.
So always use up the old stuff first before opening the new ones. That's very important. So buy a couple of plastic cereal boxes with the flip lid and pour your cereal into that, and that way the cereal will stay fresher for longer and you will enjoy the cereal that you love. And after the break, we're going to talk a little bit about what to do with cereal. So stay tuned. This is Barry Fair with you at Tonight's Cash. Thank you for joining me here today. Now I'd like to talk to you about breakfast cereal and what you can do with it. Well, I'd like to talk to you about Rice Bubbles and what you can do with them. Well, you can make chocolate crackles. Well, chocolate crackles are made with Rice Bubbles, cocoa, coconut, and cocoa. Now, cocoa is like a shortening. So what you do is you mix it up and melt into the dry ingredients, and then you place the mixture into small patty cases and put in the fridge until set. And what else can you make? Well, you can make Honey Joys. Now, Honey Joys are made with cornflakes. Now, all you need for that is cornflakes and honey, and we might tell you a recipe for that when we go back into the studio before the lunch break. Now, there are so many things you can do with cereal. You can make a slice. You can just eat it on its own with some warm milk. And also another cereal is rolled oats. Now, you can make Anzac biscuits. You can make muesli bars. You can make just about anything with rice bubbles and oats, and muesli, of course. So let's go back into the studio now. But before we do, let's take a picture of our Cerebral Palsy Alliance sign. And this is the front entrance to St. Ives Caves. So we are open from 8 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon. So let's go back now and we'll talk about today's Melbourne Cup. Before we get into today's Melbourne Cup, I'd like to give you a sausage roll recipe. Now, can you resist the sausage roll at a birthday party while I spoke about this on a report on Sunday night? So you can download the video, the party food report from Sunday night, and you can also watch that. And I'm also going to go over the berry bread. Now, who can resist berry bread? Well, I'd like to tell you how you can make those two things. Firstly, with the sausage rolls. Now, you need to have good quality sausage mince to make sausage rolls and good pastry. Now, here's my offsider for this.
Yeah, good quality sausage and pastry. It's just the secret for it. Having, I don't know, you can choose the sausage you like, with spices or no spices, a plain one. But having a good quality one is very, very important.
So it's also very important to check the date on the pack of when you buy the sausage mince, because if it's off, again, you cannot use it. Now, how do you make the sausage roll? Well, first, you mix the sausage mince with an onion, perhaps some breadcrumbs, some herbs of your choice, anything, and you put the mixture in on a couple of sheets of rolled puff pastry or pork puff pastry. But if you prefer to buy your own pastry, that's fine, and then brush with a beaten egg and some milk to give it that shine in the oven. And you can also sprinkle some sesame seeds over the top as well. So sausage rolls, you cannot go wrong with making sausage rolls, ladies and gentlemen. And who can go past the berry bread? Well, I gave you the recipe for that on Sunday night. So how do you make it? Well, you make fairy bread like this. You simply grab some nice fresh bread, ladies and gentlemen, spread with some butter, and you sprinkle hundreds and thousands onto the fairy bread and butter, cut into triangles, wrap up and take to the party, or if you are at someone's party, you can serve that along with the sausage rolls. And also on Sunday night, I talked about dips. Now, who can resist a tasty dip? Well, my favorite dip would be the French onion dip, ladies and gentlemen. And how do you make that? Well, you buy two packets of French onion soup mix, dry French onion soup mix, and you mix that with a couple of cartons of sour cream, and you wrap it up and place the bowl in the fridge overnight to allow the flavors to develop, ladies and gentlemen. And the next day, after the flavors have developed, you've got yourself some nice French onion dip. And I can tell you, French onion dip is great with cracker biscuits, but it is great with pita bread sticks, celery sticks, you name it. And what else can you make? Well, you can make your own hummus. Well, how do you make hummus? Well, you make it with some beans. It's made with chickpeas and lemon juice, and you place the chickpeas in a bowl with some water and lemon juice, and you blend until smooth, and then you can serve straight away, or you can put in the fridge overnight to allow the flavors to develop and things like that. So I can tell you, I'm making you viewers hungry at talking about food. Well, right now, I'm at the last part of the first part of the show, and now I'm going to talk about staying safe on the road. Just before the lunch break, I would like to talk about staying safe on the road and driving safely on the road. Before you go on a long car trip, always make sure your car is in good nick before you go on a long car trip. And always get the mechanics to service your car before you go away. And here's my offsider.
Yeah, just make sure you keep your car checked quite often, because as you said, if you are starting a long trip, it's safe, to have your car checked, especially if you're going to remote areas. yeah, that's a good advice.
So, and also make sure that you have good tyres on the car as well, too, ladies and gentlemen, and a spare tyre and some tools to change the tyre with. Here's my offsider.
Yeah, make sure you know how to change a tire, or you have road assistance included in your insurance for your car, and make sure you have everything you need, some fuel if you're going to remote areas.
And never carry fuel in a container because it can explode. So always carry fuel in a jerry can. Now you can pick that up, these up at an auto place and ask which is suitable and safer for you to carry fuel in. Here's my offsider.
Yeah, well said, Barry. So if you are carrying fuel, make sure you follow Barry's suggestion, and make sure you have plenty of water if your car stops. So and you have a phone with you that it's charged at all times.
And also make sure that your mobile phone is charged before you put it in the car, or you can have a mobile phone charger for the car. Make sure that you have a mobile phone battery which is good for when you need to ring the emergency services or whatever, because you must never have a phone with a flat battery. Here's my offsider.
There's a lot of portable charger around, so you can buy an extra spare one for your car. So if you are running out of battery, you can actually have this portable charger without the need to plug it in. So it's very useful.
And also make sure, viewers, that the car battery is good too. Here's my offsider.
Yeah, checking your battery before a long trip, and make sure you are aware of where you're going, and if there are fuel stations around where you can ask for help if you need any.
So we're just about at the end of the first part of the show. But coming up after the break, we're going to talk about what to do in an emergency and what not to do if you are involved in a car accident. So here's my offsider to tell you this.
Yeah, make sure you stay tuned, and for our next video in regards to getting involved in an accident.
So I hope that you have enjoyed our first part of the video today, and also we'll be talking about the Melbourne Cup after lunch as well. So we've got a very big show coming up for you today. This show is far from over, everybody. So enjoy the lunch break. The time is now 1 minute past midday, and we'll see you after the lunch break. Have a good lunch, everybody.